Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the North Miami Planning Commission this Thursday, October the 16th, 13th. Can we please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance? And I think the flag is behind the pole. Okay. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to stand nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Chairman Ernst, Commissioner Lenore, absent. Vice Chair McDermott,
Present?
Commissioner Each,
Present.
Commissioner Medina,
Present.
Commissioner Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Bob, and Commissioner Besson.
Present.
Thank you. You do have a quorum, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of September the 6th, 2022?
So moved. Seconded.
Okay. Any communications from anybody?
Yes, sir. We're going to, your next Planning Commission meeting is November 1st, and on that agenda, we have a number of items, but we also want to start reviewing the comprehensive plan text amendments. So we are recommending a second meeting on November 3rd. We verified that it's available so that you can continue. And we're going to talk a little bit at the end about the process and the format and get your feedback on how you want the consultant to present the materials.
November 3rd?
November 3rd is the second date.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we could do just the 3rd, just for the comprehensive plan?
It's up to you. I had intended to only have like this many items. I've now been asked to add a couple of others. So it could be that we start the comprehensive plan, depending upon how quickly we can move through it, and you all decide. Do you want to do it just on the 3rd, or do you want to try to get in some of the stuff on the 1st?
Okay.
I'm sorry, the other way around. My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Held.
Okay. All right.
So we got both days, the first and the third.
First and the
Yes, sir.
third, yeah.
Okay.
The first, we definitely have your regular items, but we thought we might be able to tackle some of the material, particularly like some of the findings, and then get to the actual meat
Right.
of decision-making, you know, either at the end of that or on the 3rd.
The reason I say just dedicating the 3rd to the comprehensive plan is I know that there's some citizens that have expressed their desire to be involved in that whole process from the very beginning. So, you know, maybe we could send out an extra special notice if we only put it on the 3rd. That was the only reason that
So you'd still have the meeting on the 1st for the other items, but the 3rd would be dedicated to comprehensive plan? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, right.
Totally up to you all. That's why this discussion item is on there.
Well, as I say, I know some of the public have expressed, you know, a concern and an interest in being involved and listening, et cetera, from the very beginning. So if we had it just on the 3rd, then the word could get out to those people who might want to come and sit in, as they say, from the very beginning.
We're going to
What
talk
is-
a little bit about that outreach and the availability a little bit later, but you guys can tell me what,
Well,
it's your
how's that
pleasure.
sound
You
to
all have to
everybody?
make that decision.
What's that, Mike? Have two meetings, one on the 1st and one on the 3rd?
And on the 3rd,
Yeah,
just dedicate
it's
it
okay with me.
to the comp plan.
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, all right,
All right, just dedicated to the
problem.
comp plan. Okay,
right,
that sounds fine.
okay. Now
okay.
we have to swear in those people who are here, correct? Can you raise your right hand, please, if you're going to speak on this issue at all? Do you swear Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to continue, start off first with public hearing, PC 1762, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving a modification to the existing conditional use CUP approved under resolution number 1646 to remove the two properties located at 1590 Northeast 123rd Street and specifically identify with Miami-Dade County folio numbers 06-2229-083-0020 and 06-2229-083-0014 from the terms of the existing CUP, to allow for future redevelopment of the parcels in accordance with Article 3, Division 3, Section 3-302, and Article 3, Division 4, Section 3-404 through Section 3-410 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Chapter 29, entitled Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Do you think it needs to discuss procedures? Yes? Okay.
No, I mean, you might as well do it. It's up to you.
Staff, do you have a presentation?
I do.
Well, there's people watching,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a summary of quasi-judicial procedures. These rules apply to applications on specific parcels of land, like the conditional use request before you today. The commission will sit like a court, hence the term quasi-judicial, reviewing the facts presented at the hearing, applying the adopted rules as explained by staff in the staff report and verbally. Commission members can make site visits, but must disclose the evidence upon which they intend to rely from that visit. Commission members will disclose at the beginning of the hearing whether they have had communications with individuals on behalf of the applicant or otherwise, including who the communication was with and what the topic of the discussion was. All persons intending to speak to the commission will be sworn by the clerk. The staff will make a presentation. The commission may ask questions. The applicant will make a presentation, including expert witnesses, if any. The commission may ask questions. When the public hearing is open, public can make comments on the application limited to 2 minutes each. Citizen testimony must be fact-based, not opinion. Commission may ask questions, and the applicant's attorney, if any, may ask questions, cross-examination. Members of the public can decline to be cross-examined. The commission deliberates based on the evidence presented. Commission or board decision must be based on competent substantial evidence, meaning based on the record, staff presentations, expert presentations, and fact-based comments by citizens, according to the standards for approval set forth in the city code. Commission may then approve, deny, or continue the item. And we should remember to do any disclosures as provided for in the city code, if there are any, at this time.
Okay.
Any disclosures?
Nothing here.
On this particular item, is this the, well, I don't need to on this one now.
Okay.
I'll do my presentation for you, sir.
Just once.
Okay.
So for transparency, the acting chair, Mr. McDermott, asked me whether he has a conflict due to his relationship with the Police Athletic League, and I advised him that he does not.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Okay, so let's start with my presentation, sir. For the record, Debbie Love, City Planner, Community Planning and Development. The application before you is to amend a very old conditional use permit from 1973 that governs the entire development. It was called a Greenwich Planned Unit Development. And so let me run through the presentation with you. All right, here is the actual subject properties. It's the former Gwen Margolis property and the parking lot associated with the Gwen Margolis, and there's a piece of open space right next to that that is also incorporated into this. As you can see, the subject property is isolated. The CUP that was originally done back in '73 provided for about 1,800 dwelling units, community center, retail, office, and the Greenwich Studios was the capstone of that development. Since that time, it has been modified, primarily reducing the number of units, reducing the number of buildings, setting up the ordinance, establishing the PUD, making sure that it matched with the conditional use permit, adding a fence, things like that, very minor things that had happened. So what you have before you is, they have a built-out scenario already. I'm gonna show you the site. It's, as you can see, it's PU right now, but it's also in, the entire development is also within the North Miami Transit Station Overlay District. So because the CUP is built out and this has now been sold, it will no longer be the community facility, the community center, as part of this CUP. So withdrawing the piece of properties out of there makes total sense, because it prevents any further development in either Greenwich or on these particular pieces of property. And because they are zoned PU and, they are in the North Miami Transit Station Overlay District, ultimately they will have to come back and request a conditional use permit for whatever they are proposing in the future. And the applicant's agent is here in case you have any questions, or they may want to make a brief presentation. So what you can see here is, this is the entire development scenario. And in 2021, a unsolicited proposal was received by the city to purchase the Gwen Margolis Center and parking lot. And City Council agreed at that time to pursue the sale and negotiate the sale. And in January of this year, the sale was approved by City Council of the property. And so it closed in June of this year. So now is the time to allow for any future development scenario, pulling them out of this conditional use permit for these two pieces of property. Makes complete sense. Staff is supportive of this, and it is now up to you all to make your determinations. But again, that's the end of my presentation. I just want to give you a quick on the next steps. It'll go to City Council on 10/25. They will have to submit their own CUP. It goes through the CUP review process that you all are very familiar with. Everything from coming back to CU, seeing the City Council, going to DRC, and then final site plan approval by City Council. So it's a little bit of a process they have down the road after, if this is approved by City Council, then that will be the next steps for what they will do. The applicant's agent's here. If, Mr. Wasserman, if you wanted to say anything or you have any questions, I'm sure he will be more than happy to answer them for you.
Good evening, Ethan Wasserman with Greenberg Charg, 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue, here on behalf of the property owner.
Could you speak, Ethan? Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
Again, Ethan Wasserman for the record. I really don't have much to add. Debbie summarized it very well. My client purchased the property. The intention was always to have it as a standalone site when we purchased the property. That was the city's understanding as well. So we will be coming back before you all with our CUP application. So this is not really changing anything in terms of our development process, other than we will have our own CUP versus an aggregated CUP. That's all this is.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Is that it, Debbie?
That's it, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Besson, Councilman?
Yes, I have a question. Who is 1590 Northeast 123rd Street LLC? You're the agent?
I'm the attorney for that entity. That entity is the parent company, I'll call it, is Old Town Capital Partners. That's their kind of parent company. I believe this is an SPE LLC that they set up for the acquisition of this entity. But the true owner is, you know, in layman's terms, would be Old Town Capital Partners.
Okay, very good.
Is this property is hooked up with Old Town developers out of Chicago, as I recall?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any, first off, we have a board member who has joined us. Please make it, announce yourself.
Mark Barr.
Okay. Okay. Okay, is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Public hearing is now closed. board, we'll start down here. Mr. Edwards, any comments?
No, I have no comments.
Mr. Bob?
None at this time.
Okay. Kenny?
No, sir.
Okay, well then, the chair would like to entertain a motion to approve this application.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
That was
Second.
Councilman Peach,
Yes.
and who seconded, I'm sorry?
Edmund?
I'm doing dual roles, so bear with me while I say thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Vice Chair McDermott, how do you
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Each, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina, how do you vote?
No.
Commissioner Clark, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Bob, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Besson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay.
You have a,
5-1,
you have 5-1.
correct.
The item passes 5-1.
Okay.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Ethan. Okay, are there any committee reports?
No, sir.
Okay, is there any old business to come before us?
No, sir.
Any new business?
Yes, sir.
We've talked about the comprehensive plan review a little bit, Debbie.
Right, I have a little presentation for you. Let me get this up. I think it should be ready to go. Nope. Thank you, sir. Thank you. As I mentioned, we do need to talk about the comprehensive plan that's coming before you on 11/3. The name of this project is Future City, Know Me Beyond the Centennial. It's tied to our 100th year anniversary and moving beyond, going into the centennial and then beyond, because our comprehensive plan will cover through 2045. In looking at what we wanted for the comprehensive plan when we hired our consultant was, really it needed to be user-friendly. We wanted more graphics, we wanted things it's easier to navigate, that it covers both the ADA requirements for the comprehensive plan, that it's in multiple languages, that we wanted to make sure that it's what's termed in comprehensive planning systems-oriented. And some of you who are maybe engineers understand that term. It's really looking at it holistically and that they are interconnected and that it goes beyond Florida statute requirements, essentially. We wanted it to actually be more rich, more interactive, more interconnected, and actually have some key performance indicators that assigns responsibility to the various departments, because that's one of the challenges that we have in measuring effectiveness of our existing comprehensive plan, is that the planning department is the only arbiter of what goes on in monitoring the effectiveness of those policies and chasing down the individual departments to make sure that they are doing what the comprehensive plan says. This will actually have assignments. It'll have a whole series of projects that may need to occur, and as you can see on the last box, that it's actionable. That's the part of it that's often missing, and we really the goal here was to make it where the community can use it. Right now, it's a series of just policies that often people don't even look at. They don't know that it's there. They don't know that this is the actual guiding document that I, as the city planner, use when making these type of decisions when projects come in through our department. So right now, what we've been doing, or the consultant has been doing, is they have been updating our data and analysis, looking at the existing policies as to what has been done. Is this out of date? Is it something that's already been accomplished? Is it some old language from, many years ago that is really no longer provides any benefit to the city? They've been putting together the actual document, including figuring out how to lay out the data and analysis, and talking to us about basic policy decisions. And one of the biggest ones that we'll be looking at in this particular comprehensive plan is, how do we grow? How big do we want to be? What do we want to be in the future? And then after that's done, and after it comes to you and goes to City Council on the 22nd, it gets transmitted to the state. We have to do that transmittal by December 1st. So this has been a very compressed period of time to try to do a lot of stuff. So we did some very unique outreach and going out to where people are already gathered in events and talking to them. They also set up a website that's been pushed out through Constant Contact, through social media, and like I said, they've been going to actual events where people are, trying to show them what we've come up with, what some of the initial information is. That's what they were going to share with you at the Planning Commission, that we could not get because of the technology last time, and they were going to give you an update sort of where they are. They'll go in detail on 11/3. And this is what I'm really wanting everybody to get out there and promote, because social media, they can only do so much with social media, but we have a dedicated website, and that's the link to it. And that's the landing page, and you can see that right now there's a survey up there. There is a mapping exercise up there. So we really want, I gave you a flyer that if you could push it out to your network and get people to go to that website and sign up so that they can get those updates as to what's happening, when are the next meetings, what's going on. There's a QR code there that, I'll leave it up in a moment, but there's a QR code that people can just scan. It'll take them right to the page. But there's also that short link right there. As you all remember, during the initial scoping meetings that we did as staff, there were 4 major themes that came out of the conversations that we've had that seem to be supported by those who have gone to the website and provided comments, or those who provided comments at the engagement, when they've gone out into the public, is health, the healthy NOMI. We talked about community health and wellness, how critical that is. We talked about technology, infrastructure, and access, and how critical that is to not just get broadband, but have the ability. I don't know if you remember the story I told you about how the children, we gave them laptops, but they had no internet access, or they had internet access and no laptops, and they were going to coffee shops and things like that to actually get internet access. So we want to try to figure out how to fix some of those issues. Housing affordability, absolutely a critical issue, not just here, but just countywide and actually throughout the country. And then environmental protection and climate change response. Those were the 4 major themes, and so far people are very excited about the technology. They're very excited about the wellness categories as well. The consultant will give you more details. So the next step is that we are going to have your presentation on November 3rd. It'll go to City Council on the 22nd, and it will be transmitted to the state. So this is the discussion I wanted to have with you all tonight, is there's a lot of information they can present to you. How do you want that to occur? Do you wish to have a high-level overview of the data and analysis? Because that's just the existing conditions, and here's all the information. And Do you want just a high-level overview, or do you want them to dig into the data and analysis? Or, because you'll have it in front of you. Because I can see that you, and then the second part of that question is, do you want to do a line-by-line review? Or do you want them to say, okay, here's what we've done, these particular policies cover this, this, and this. Are there any questions, and then any discussions? So that's a critical piece of what I need to get from you all, is how do you want the consultant to present this information to you? And of course, then, those who are in attendance, will have the public hearing component, and they can make their comments. So there you go, sir. That's my question.
Well, from my standpoint, I think to move things forward, I think an executive review would be a good one. You know, and then we can get into the minutia, you know, through the public workshops and, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, what is your thought on that?
Well, we're not having an individual public workshops. We've already done this through going out and
No, I
meeting
mean,
folks. You mean the hearing?
Yes,
The hearings?
yeah.
It's up to you how you want to do it. They can continue to provide comment, because the document will, after it goes to you all, it will be simultaneously, when it's sent to you all as a package, it will simultaneously be uploaded to the website, where people can begin to make their comment on it, mark it up, say, here's what I think you should do, this is what, you know, this policy's great, or no, we need to have another policy that does this. So there'll be about 3 weeks between your and going to city council to continue to take public comment and input on the actual draft of the document. So if you're talking about an executive review, you're talking about an executive review of what, sir? The data
Well,
analysis?
like you
or-
mentioned, overall view, you know, rather than line by line.
Okay.
I mean, what do you gentlemen think?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to avoid the line by line. I think an executive summary, and then a breakdown of how that information interpolates to the executive summary, and I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Bob?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you'd want to get bogged down with the line-by-line details,
Right.
just in the interest of time and efficiency. So I think if they kind of do like an overview, and then we could, you know, if we need to nitpick or get into any specific sections, we could do so at that time.
Because we definitely want you to focus on the growth component
Right.
of it.
Right.
Whether we add all the statutory requirements in there and delete things that no longer effective, we certainly won't weigh you with those, but you'll see that they are struck through or underlying new text. And if anything comes out that you would like more specificity on, we'd be more than happy to answer those. The consultant and myself would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have on that. I'm sorry, do you want to finish getting your
Mr.
input?
Medina, you have any?
So it was my understanding that we were gonna have like 12, 15 meetings regarding this comprehensive plan.
No, sir.
How long this plan is gonna be in effect once it's completed?
Well, remember, it goes through 2045, but every 7 years you have to look at it.
So 7 years.
Every 7 years, because the market could change, conditions continue to change.
No, that's fine.
Today, this might be it for today, but when you look at it 7 years down the road again, the community could say, you know, no, this isn't working, or we want to change it, or the market could change. Market conditions could change.
So, and how long will be the line by line?
It would be quite extensive.
How many pages, more or less?
I don't know how many pages it would be once you do the strike through and underline.
So
at
once
least.
we review this and we send it to the council the 23rd, and then in December the 1st, it's going to the state?
Yes, sir. They have to adopt it for first reading on the 22nd, and they want just a high-level review. The city managers asked for just a high-level review, because again, we want to focus on the things that we think are really super critical, and that's how are we gonna grow? What are we gonna look like? And what do we want to look like? Because that's going to be the key to economic driver, housing affordability, and all those other issues go along with that.
So this is very important. And it's very important to have the input from the public.
That's right.
So, I mean, the efforts that the city put on, I haven't received anything. I go to all the restaurants and places around the city, and I haven't seen anybody talking about this.
We've been there at the events that we could coordinate to be at, or the consultant has been. You see the list that was in my PowerPoint. And again, the engagement HQ is what has been pushed out by the city through Constant Contact. And I've told you guys about it. I'm now putting up the QR code to make sure that everybody knows to go and take a look at it, sign up, because once something's uploaded, they get notified. There's a new document, there's a new meeting, there's new something happening. And I really want to get people to take the survey and do the mapping exercise. And then we'll put the text up, that would be the next step, is the text up, and allow people to make their comments.
How many people have commented so far?
At this point, I don't know. That's a good question, sir. The consultant that managed it is out of the country, and I wanted to get a latest count of what they have received, and I couldn't get it before this meeting, so my
Okay.
apologies for not being able to answer that.
Yeah, I think that's important information.
It is, and I will tell you, it's not as much as I want. You
Well,
know what I mean?
I-
I'd love
and-
to have a whole bunch of people have signed in and taken the survey.
Yeah, and I can, in reference to the third, I think we need to try and push out as much information as possible. You and I both sat through numerous roomfuls of people in this chamber when development started coming, who swore up and down that they had no idea what was going on, that they never heard about the LDRs. I mean, we had, at one point, we counted, 250 people in this room and out in the lobby at that one particular development? I mean, with signs and T-shirts and everything, and they all swore that they had no idea what was going on with the overlay districts or the LDRs or anything of that sort. So we want to do as much as we can to reach out to the public to make sure that they know, that this is in process, that this is happening. Because it is going to change. It is going to change neighborhoods. It's going to change the way we look at where do we go forward with development, with heights and densities and.
Well, I will tell you that we are not we're not proposing any new changes in that regard.
Right.
One of the things that you'll be hearing about is the population projections for growth, what is projected for population. Those are done in a very, the methodology has to be approved by the state. You just can't stick a
Right.
number and go, oh, that looks good. So they've done an excellent job on the population projections, and then there are some scenarios that we need direction on. And that's where this conversation occurs, is it starts, and this is why I wanted to see if you all wanted to focus on anything particular, and my recommendation is to focus on the growth and population aspect of it, because that will determine what the city's going to look like in the future. Things like adding, I don't know, I'm just gonna make up something, things that says we are going to assure all development takes sea level rise into consideration in their development. That should not be controversial policy. It's policies that I think are more, in my opinion, as a city planner, they're more important to get, for you to understand and then make a decision on how you want to grow. Because we already have these overlay districts that focus growth. And but what kind of growth do you want? What kind of development do you want? And that's where the comp plan can help. That's why you need to focus on the growth piece of it, the population piece of it. And then anything else then that is critical that you want to discuss, whether that is ultimately saying we don't want these overlays, but that's not something we are making any recommendation about in the comp plan, because it's not our vision. So you all make those decisions. The community needs to weigh in on this through this, either once it gets uploaded. But in the meantime, I really need everybody to go to the website. I really, really need everybody to take the survey and do the mapping exercise. Because it's going
So-
to tell us a lot about what people are looking for and want.
Right. So I think the consensus seems to be that we have the overall review rather than a line by line. So,
With a specific focus and letting the consultant present the
right.
population information and the housing information as
Yeah,
far as
and,
number of
and the
units and
overall
things
of
like
where
that.
they see the changes that need to be done, the changes that reflect the growth,
Particularly the growth scenarios.
particularly the growth scenario.
Okay.
You know, and any other items that anybody here would like them to address, but I think that's important to, in relation to the growth, how do they see what changes need to be happening, our overlays and our, you know, all the other things that are involved with, you know, the city moving forward.
It really is that they're not gonna make any recommendations as far as whether your height changes or whether you continue to maintain the different overlay districts. That's a decision that is for the community and you all to direct them.
Well, that's
do
why
so.
we need to make sure we get the input.
That's right. This is why I am wanting to put this up on the screen, so I really, for anybody watching at home, I want to put this back up on the screen.
Debbie,
There you go.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This one.
As I recall, last time we did this, we get all the material,
Uh-huh.
and we're still gonna get all the
Oh,
material.
yes.
So then we can peruse it and look through it and see what's important to us and bring it
Right.
up for discussion.
That's right,
Okay.
sir. That's right.
Yeah,
Like
okay,
we
that's
did
what we did
Yeah,
7
last
years
time.
ago.
That's
I
what
don't know
we
how
did
many
7
times
years
we've
ago.
done, I think
But the
Yeah.
consultant, I wanted
twice,
to give,
3 times?
Twice,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to give the consultant a feel for what you all would like them to particularly focus on. And personally, I am thinking that maybe you all are agreeing that it's the growth piece of it.
When will we get the material from the comp plan?
Well, I want them to have it out to you guys as quickly as they can. I'm asking them for 2 weeks,
2 weeks?
yeah. But they are, it's probably gonna be closer to 10 days.
All right, but we'll
I'm
cer-
sorry, closer to when?
10 days.
10 days. So when we get it, we can review it, then we still have time for those 2 meetings in November.
Right.
And we can bring up different things, we can call you and you can say, okay, this, that, okay, all right.
And
Like
what-
we did this before.
Yeah, the big document, the comp plan itself is not that big.
Mhm.
The data and analysis that supports the comp plan is what makes it so large.
Yeah, yeah. and
Right.
you
So
have
the
changes.
data is existing conditions, future conditions, it's, what have you done, what is the condition of the wastewater system and the stormwater and all those other stuff, so it's a lot of details that you may or may not, you find interesting, because it's not like something we can correct or change, and maybe a typo or something like that in it. But typically, that's your document. That's the data, the information that backs up the policies for which you want to focus. And it will justify the policies that they are going to be changing and amending, and will provide you the backup to make the decisions regarding growth,
Right,
and what growth scenarios that you all are interested in.
okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So, from my personal 2 cents here,
Yes, sir.
and since I always get 100 on that interpretation,
I'm sorry, sir?
I always get 100 on that interpretation since I was in the 4th grade, all the way to the last time I was in college 5 years ago. I'm gonna review the whole data,
Great.
and they should prepare for questions on everything.
Oh, they are. They're ready.
Oh,
I'm just
we'll see
telling you
about
what
that,
the data
because the
is.
last time they didn't impress me.
What I'm telling you is the data, the last time what last time are you talking about?
The last time somebody came here with data, it was a joke.
Oh, I see, but not them. Okay, gotcha. All right, because I was like, did I miss something?
So far, nobody has impressed me here, presenting data.
Well, what you'll have is the data and analysis is what I told you, that you
Right.
all read through that, backs up the policies. It helps you make decisions on future scenarios, climate change, technology,
Right.
economics. It really drives everything. The
Okay.
growth will drive all of that.
Okay, so, November 3rd is our target date.
Yes, sir.
Could you make every effort possible to make sure that, that notices go out?
Of course, we can't mail notices to every single person in the city. However, through social media, we'll try to figure out what other venues
Well, the one
that
big
are-
thing, one big thing, there's a lot of people who, in this city, who don't have social media. Make sure you send it out by email. I think email and on Channel 77, because people
Okay.
do,
That's a good idea.
people do watch that. So let's make sure it goes out
Sure.
on, emails and Channel 77 for those that, are
or on social media.
under the age
obviously.
of 60, yeah.
Right. But we definitely would definitely continue to push through communications. I have to coordinate
Right.
through communications to push out through Constant Contact, and that's their email list. But it doesn't include everybody in the city.
No, but I think if you use all the means available, and that's been one of our problems sometimes, we don't use all the means available. But I think if we do through email and Channel 77 and perhaps, we have a lot of free broadcasting time on local radio stations,
We'll see what
if that's possible to do. We just want to make sure that anybody and everybody who possibly can be aware is aware.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not going to get
Absolutely.
100% for sure, but, I think it's important to, because we don't want to go through what we did years after we passed the last one with everybody thinking that we snuck something by them. The city snuck by this thing and didn't tell us. Well, we did, but I guess the information just didn't reach everybody as it should, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So one of the things I do.
Oh,
want-
I'm sorry,
I'm
Gary?
sorry,
No.
Mr. Hill, go ahead.
So this QR code is to this survey. Are there drafts available, or?
No, we haven't,
No?
we can't put anything up there yet until it's actually gone to these guys.
Okay.
But there are mapping exercises and information about the data, some of the data gathering that has been done, some of the same materials that they've been presenting at the different events and getting feedback on. So there is information up there. It's just not drafted the policies yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good information there. We encourage everyone to go. I think one of the things that we will do that I think is a good idea is if nothing else, send specific notices to the homeowner associations,
Yeah.
right? And so that's one of the things that we already have on our list. But this piece, this dedicated website, I think is extremely critical to this entire
God.
process.
Okay.
It's very unique and it's interactive, which is one of the reasons I like it, because people can actually have make real-time comments.
Right. Okay, well, that's great. Maybe we can put something up on Channel 70. It's coming, and people will say, what's coming?
It's dun, dun,
You know.
dun, 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 dun. So yeah, we're excited about that. So I do appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about how you'd like the materials presented,
Yeah, thank you very much.
to encourage as much distribution and trying to make announcements at every meeting.
Yeah,
We've asked communications to announce it at council meetings and give them the link and get people to go to the QR code and, again, sending out e-blasts through the Constant Contact.
yeah, we need, in today's world, you get so much stuff, it's so easy to miss something. So it's important we try every venue possible to make sure that
Agreed.
everybody participates, in their city and what's going on.
And you all have wide networks. And I really, truly encourage you all as ambassadors and the planning commission members who drive this comprehensive plan, because you are what is called the land planning agency for the community. So you're the ambassador for this as well. So I ask if you all would be so kind as to blast out this, which is on that flyer I handed out to you, to your networks as well. So so we're trying to get it blasted out
Right.
as much as we
Okay.
can.
Very good. All right,
So,
Debbie,
one
thank,
more question.
Mr.
So,
Hammond?
Debbie, will there be materials handed out in advance of the meeting for them to review, or is it more interactive during the meeting?
No, we're going to be submitting the package to them, just like we would normally with the 11-1. You'll
Okay.
have a package of all those, and then you'll have a package that is the comprehensive plan, which will include the data and analysis. But now, I just want to warn you, it's not going to be in the pretty awesome format with all the great graphics and all that stuff. It's focusing right now just on the text, and then after it comes back from the state and they either approve it or say, hey, you need to do whatever, once we get the second reading done, then their job is to then go back and make it focus more graphic, more rich, more interactive, and then we'll start to work on the translations into Haitian Creole and Spanish. So we have an English, but the only official version of the document will always be the English version,
Okay,
because there could be
right.
the state says
That's the way it
there could
should
be translation errors. So technically, only the English version is the right version. But it's going to be a fabulous document. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm
it's
I'm
gonna
really
be
excited
exciting,
about what it's gonna
absolutely.
look like at the end and how user-friendly it's going to be. Because right now, even though our comp plan's online, it's not ADA compliant.
Right,
So we need to make sure that that's done, as well
Right.
as making it interactive, where you can actually click on something and it takes you to something else.
okay. Debbie, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if
I
there's
have
no,
a couple of questions, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. So when we're gonna receive the package for the first?
For the
The
first.
The Friday
the
before?
third, it's gonna be on the third, we're gonna do the comp plan.
Which one are you asking for?
I'm
sir?
sorry, give me a second.
Because the 11-1 package, you'll get 7 days in advance is what we try to get it out to you guys.
Right,
And that's a Tuesday, so you should get the 11-1 package the Tuesday before. But I'm hoping to get the comp plan out a few days before that. I'm telling them I want to have it delivered at least 10 days in advance.
okay.
So, three,
So November third.
working days or including the weekends?
Including the weekends, sir.
So Monday the 24th, we should get the package,
You should. That's my goal.
because it's supposed to be 10 days, exactly. And so far,
There's nothing in our code that requires 10 days, sir. We get it to you as soon as we can. Now, with this one, because it's so critical and so large, we want to get it 10 days, just to give you time to, the only thing that's required is for the notice in 10 days, is for the notice to appear in the paper. Not your packages to go out or anything to be available. It says available as soon as practical. And the city has taken a 7-day, they actually do it 5 days in advance for city council. We try to get it to you guys 7 days in advance for planning commission as staff. That's
well,
our
you know,
goal.
in other cities here in Miami-Dade, the police take it to your house 10 days before.
Hmm.
So we need to, get more efficient.
We'll certainly try, sir.
No, I know you try, I mean, we need more employees, I understand. This is not a personal thing, it's just
It's
that,
not.
you have sent packages this thick, and I only have 3 days to review them.
And we try
So-
not to do that if possible. We want to
So
review the 7 days.
specifically in this comprehensive plan, this is a very important thing.
Of course, sir.
So if I don't complete my review because it arrived late, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
I understand.
Okay.
I can do
Debbie?
the best I can do, sir.
Okay.
And I told you I wanted it 10 days in advance to you, to allow for time for the review.
Okay. Debbie, thanks for doing double duty tonight.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, and thanks everyone for coming and participating. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all very much.